Thanks, Philippa, and welcome to part 2 of this talk on sustainable food and drink and how to leverage IP to gain commercial edge. My name's Nathalie John, and I'm a trademark associate within Gill, Jennings and Every. Here we will be focusing on how registered designs and trademarks can be used to help sustainable food and drink products stand out from the crowd and also protect the investment by retaining exclusivity. So consumers are increasingly aware of how their use of food and drink products is negatively impacting our planet. So in a world in which there is increasing pressure to be sustainable, how do brands stand out? And how do they protect against copycats? Well, the traditional way is to brand those products with a catchy name or logo, and we will come on to trademarks later in this talk. But the shape and design of a product and its packaging, i.e. its get-up, can be just as important in catching the attention of the consumer. Granted, there is little room for changing the appearance or shape of food and drink products per se, and for sustainable products specifically, any modifications will likely centre around their composition or method of manufacture, which, as Philippa has discussed already, is more relevant to patents. But there is certainly scope for changing the shape or design of packaging and in such a way that conveys an eco-friendly message. Packaging can generally be, well, a little functional, the primary goal being to keep products safe and unspoiled. But when brands do take the time to be creative, they can make an everyday product look extraordinary and increase sales in the process. And registered designs is one way to protect such features of appearance. So what is a registered design? As shown on the screen, there is a very broad definition of what is registerable as a design. It can be any appearance of all or part of a product resulting from the lines, contours, shapes, textures or materials of the product or its ornamentation. A registerable design does not need to be considered artistic or to fall into a category like copyright. However, it must be novel and have individual character, though this is a fairly low threshold. Whilst unregistered designs and copyright may also arise on creation, they are typically more difficult to enforce, so design registration is usually recommended. Further, the application process is quick, simple and inexpensive, and gives monopoly protection, i.e. so there is no need to prove copying. And registered designs can be used as the basis for customs applications and takedown requests. They can also protect surface decoration, unlike unregistered designs. Though just remember that, like patents, you must file your application before you disclose your design, but there is a 1-year grace period if needs be. So as shown on this slide, here are some examples of packaging designs which have been protected by the well-known chocolatier Lindt. As you can see, there is nothing new with respect to the shape of the packaging items themselves, but Lindt has protected the distinctive surface decoration applied to them, and sometimes in combination with its distinctive brands. They have even gone so far as to protect the oval box, which typically houses the brands Lindt and Lindor. And protecting part of a product design like this can be useful if it is going to become a common motif. But do note that there are some exclusions to design registration, including features of appearance which is solely dictated by their technical function. So, for example, if you have completely reimagined a packaging design to be more sustainable, then patent protection may be more suitable. So now let's discuss trademarks and how they can help. Firstly, we should consider what they are exactly. And the legal definition is that a trademark can be any sign capable of distinguishing the goods or services of one undertaking from those of other undertakings. So in essence, a trademark can be any sign that consumers associate with you, the more traditional being a name or a logo, but don't forget that signs can also extend to colours and 3D shapes, amongst other things. And so why register your trademark? Well, whilst unregistered rights can subsist, they are typically more difficult to enforce, so registration is again recommended. And it's worth noting that outside of the UK, most countries give little or no importance to unregistered rights. And unlike other forms of IP, trademarks can last indefinitely provided they are renewed, so they can be incredibly useful. And like designs, they can be registered with customs and online retailers such as Amazon, to take action against counterfeiters. But don't overlook the commercial situation. A trademark is more than just something on a register. If you think about when a business is sold, what is actually purchased. There is always a brand name involved, and the consumer loyalty that brand attracts is of significant value. So in that way, a trademark is just like any other business asset that can be sold, licensed, or mortgaged. So how can trademarks promote sustainability? Well, as discussed, trademarks represent businesses and what they stand for. So this can include whether they comply with certain ethical or environmental standards. They make it possible for consumers to reward socially responsible brands with repeat custom and to avoid and punish those that might deem to be unethical. For example, as a result of their use of unsustainable materials or ingredients, or failing to uphold the human rights of the workers within their supply chain. So it is hugely important to have a brand that communicates positive, ethical values that people can buy into. Saying that, a trademark to be registrable needs to be distinctive. And there will always be some tension between choosing a mark which gives a clear, sustainable message to consumers, but that is also registrable under the trademark system. For example, words like natural, organic, and plant-based are descriptive and therefore not registrable. However, elusive or distinctive words will be registrable. And a few examples are toast, which is a beer made from unsold loaves and unused crusts. And another is rubies in the rubble, which is a range of condiments made from imperfect fruit and veg that would have otherwise gone to waste. And an increased sophistication in consumers' behaviours show that third-party eco-labels offer a competitive edge also. So let's look at some signs that you can license to support your sustainability claims and assist consumers in making ethical choices. Firstly, I've shown on the screen here some certification marks. Now, these differ from ordinary trademarks because they are not used by the proprietor, but by its authorised users. And they are used to guarantee certain characteristics of a product, for example, concerning food traceability and production standards. The owner of the certification mark, which is usually a trade association, must be competent to certify the goods and monitor compliance with the regulations. So as shown on the screen here, we've got a few examples of certification marks. The first is the plastic-free logo created by a Plastic Planet. Consumers can see this on products or in venues providing services which are free from plastic. The second is the Vegan Society's trademark, and it is the leading vegan certification mark. It means that the products are free from animal ingredients and animal testing. The third is the well-known Fair Trade logo, which is a registered certification label for products sourced from producers in developing countries, which meet strict standards of the Fair Trade Organization. And last but not least, we've got the FSC logo, which stands for Forest Stewardship Council. And this identifies wood-based products from well-managed forests, independently certified in accordance with the rules of the FSC. And next we have some collective marks. Now these are signs of membership, and they indicate that the goods or services offered under the mark originate from members of the same trade association. So some examples. The first is the Made in Britain logo. And by applying this logo, businesses make it clear to consumers that the goods are made in the UK and to the very highest standards. The second logo is a collective mark that is used as a tool for promoting sustainable development goals, and which is owned by the Poverty Alleviation Association of the Sichuan province in China. Up to 2019, it had been used on over 3,000 products, supplied by over 1,500 producers from certified poverty-stricken regions. The next type of third-party mark is a geographical indication. In 1993, EU legislation came into force, which enabled a named food or drink product to be protected against imitation throughout the EU. A GI is a sign used on goods that have a specific geographical origin and possess qualities or a reputation that are due to that origin specifically. So most commonly, a GI consists of the name of the place of origin. As a marketing tool, GIs involve a system of certification and labelling to differentiate products and to highlight the added value of their unique local features, history, or distinctive characteristics. Some examples on the slide are of the Welsh beef and Welsh lamb GIs, and they demonstrate high standards of animal husbandry and pasture land management. Some other eco-labels on the screen include the Mobius loop and the green dot, which signify that the packaging producer has made a contribution towards packaging recycling. And last but not least, you've got the OPRL scheme, which is recognised by the UN Environment Programme as international best practice and delivers a simple, consistent and UK-wide reuse and recycling message on consumer packaging. Recycle means 75% or more of the UK local authorities collect that type of packaging, whereas the don't recycle sign means fewer than 50% of UK local government authorities do this. So in summary, the key takeaways are to be proactive and consider how IP protection can support your sustainable business and add value early on. And do layer up, think about all the different types of IP that could apply to you. So just in summary, due to novelty requirements on filing, make sure that you consider patent protection early on, looking for any technical effects that might be protectable. This could be a process of production, packaging, or even the composition of a food product. Patent protection can be crucial to gaining that commercial advantage and enabling you to continue with the research and development for further sustainable solutions. And remember that even minor advances can be protected, with the inventive hurdle not being as high as you might think. When it comes to designs, think about whether there is something new about the appearance of your product or its packaging, which might be worth protecting. And like patents, consider early on due to novelty requirements. And lastly, when it comes to trademarks, consider what aspects of your product or its packaging convey your brand identity and show that you are a sustainable business. And do consider licensing third-party certification marks or other eco-labels to add credibility. So that's it for me. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with either Philippa or I, please don't hesitate to get in touch using the contact details on this slide. Thank you.